talking all that bullshit. I'ma put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my boy Hunt. What's poppin', Hunt?
I'm doing well, Conrad. How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. How you been? How was your week?
I've been good. I'm looking forward to dissecting some more Game of Gold, you know?
I bet.
I'm kind of addicted to this show now.
I mean, it's definitely exciting. I love it.
It's an exciting show.
But real question is, did you win your weekend warrior pick?
I did. I crushed it. Thank you, Ollie Watkins, for bagging a goal against Tottenham.
All right.
I stopped picking because you guys won't put me on the damn scoreboard. You don't want me to show you up.
You had to make the minimum requirement.
You don't want me to show you up.
No, you had to hit the minimum requirement of 5 picks.
Yeah.
Oh, since when is that a minimum?
No, that's what we do.
That's what they told me.
Damn headphones.
Yeah.
Damn headphones don't work.
Hunt's not on there.
I got one more pick until I get on there.
I'm not doing that. You guys got to put me on immediately.
You think you can just go 1-0 and then you're just at the top of the leaderboard? That's not how this works.
2-0.
Yeah, you think you can just go 2-0 and put yourself at the top of the leaderboard? That's not how this works.
Yes, I do think so. I think it should be.
No, you got to put in the time, right? You got to show up and
I do wish I had
text
started
Guapo
from the
your
beginning.
picks every week.
I do wish I had started from the beginning because I think I would have been crushing you guys.
Well, the good news is Weekend Warrior is actually going to be changing in structure. Our tenure with Underdog has come to an end.
Yes, we can say over and under.
We can finally say over and under
Thank
again.
God. Fuck you, higher low. Just kidding. Sorry.
I thought you were about to say, fuck you, Underdog.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
easy. They might come
I
back.
just don't like the higher lower thing, man.
I mean, the technical language was very tough. I think we got it finally by the end. It was a fun meme while it lasted. I actually think like now that it's changed, we'll still say higher lower.
This is what's going to happen. Yeah, we've conditioned ourselves, and we're just not going to go back to over and under now.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure. We could pick games against the spread. We could still do props if you guys want, but coming this Friday, it'll have a slight change to it in some capacity. All right. We'll see. I don't know.
As long as you guys don't force me to pick an American sport, I'm fine.
You're welcome to pick whatever the fuck you want, man. If you can find it if you can find a betting line for it, I don't even care if it's a sports book. If you have a betting line for it, pick it.
I'll pick some cricket picks or something like that.
Pick it.
Yeah.
Let us know what the result is. We're not going to do our due diligence. So if you want to go undefeated for the rest of the way out, you can probably pick things that have already ended.
If I tell you the result of a cricket
that would
match,
be
you're not
so
even going to
funny.
understand how to interpret the result of a cricket match.
Yes, I will, because it's highlighted on ESPN.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, winner is highlighted.
That's right.
You
We've
could
got
do
enough Indians in this
esports.
country now that cricket makes it on ESPN. So.
Hunt goes, I could have cheated last week. There was a match that was like 3/4 of the way done before I submitted my pick, and I could have just picked this guy. And he was like saying, and Guapo's like, was it still available on the Underdog app? He's like, no. And I'm like, no, we're just never going to look. We're like obviously not going to do our due diligence. We're going to trust that he's not picking a game that's over.
Yeah, right. You just, it could be any game. I could make up a game and make up a player and say I picked them, and you guys wouldn't know any better.
No chance.
Wow, that would have been really funny troll.
Yeah.
I actually should have done that. I really should
Hunt
have
is
done
15-0. This guy.
Hunt is so good at Croatian basketball.
I've been picking this made-up soccer team the whole time.
It would have been so
They don't even
frustrating because at
exist.
some point I would have tried to trail his picks, and then I would have just realized we were getting got, and I'd have to make the executive decision of
Go along with it?
Do I go along with it to save face, or do I expose the man?
What would have happened though is chat is too smart for this. They wouldn't have let me get away with it. As soon as I made a pick, chat would have said that's not a real team.
Gone along with it with you though.
They might have done. I don't know.
They wouldn't have known if you were picking things that had happened in the past, right?
True.
Like, you know, I think it was the Thanksgiving pick or whatever. You picked one that was in progress, but you had picked it prior.
And that was
lost.
that was a rarity because there were games on a Friday when they usually wouldn't be. That's the thing. So like I wouldn't have had that option every week. But picking a made up team and like somehow getting chat to go with it would have been really funny.
All right, let's not
Didn't do that.
Let's not come up with ways to troll the host.
I gotta do some trolls with the chat. I think that would be fun.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I feel like I would get away with it more because people wouldn't expect it from me.
Yeah.
But I feel like Melissa, people would expect it
Yeah,
from you,
they
so
would
like you might not
expect
get away with it.
The thing is, you would need like Ifra working some back channels of like
Easy.
this weird only friends chat Discord that exists that we don't know about.
Yeah, or like I would have to like enlist Ifra's help to like level the chat into thinking that this is actually a real thing. Or I'd have to like separately contact a bunch of people from chat to like get them to
get the regulars in on it, and then the herd mentality will kick in, and then everyone will be in on it.
Exactly. And there's absolutely no benefit for me other than trolling you guys.
Yeah,
So
that's
definitely
that's pretty
worth
high
the effort,
benefit.
you know.
Huge benefit.
Do you know about the best troll ever yet?
Well, what's that?
Oh,
I might know about it.
No, but it's too early. I know where you're going, but it's too early.
You don't know about the
you
best troll ever
You
yet.
have to let this one simmer for, I'd say, another 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, I can't. I'm sorry, Guapo.
Wait, what?
Go ahead.
Guapo, I'm sorry, I can't.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Remember that Guapo's cousin that plays for
My nephew.
Oh, okay. That was a troll. I did think it might be, but I wasn't gonna be like, no, that can't possibly be true. Like,
You both were being polite.
The thing is that you're so polite and British and well mannered, and Guapo's so like low key about
He's
it.
dry.
Only,
like you can't tell.
Only Conrad and I knew immediately.
Wait,
this
remind
is
the
like,
audience of what you're talking
So
about.
Guapo said that his
he-
cousin was in.
his nephew played in MLS, and it was totally believable to me
Because
like,
I actually took the time to like Wikipedia, like any soccer player with the last name Gonzalez.
I'm sure that one was tough.
Oh, dude, I had like 4 options. And I finally found someone who was like an American-born player, but was nationalized in Mexico or something.
you did your homework.
I found out
like,
he had a little brother.
totally believable.
His father's name and
Man, I definitely did that
totally
you put that kind of effort into it. I thought you just were
didn't
like, my
either.
last name's Gonzalez. I'm going to say that I have a relative in the MLS.
Kind of like
I-
mastermind.
Yeah, like I would have totally just believed that. It was totally believable. Because like, what reason do I have to dispute that? You know?
Right,
Like,
right.
It's not like it's like a super unrealistic thing. Like,
We're so different. He said something like that, and I immediately go, bullshit.
I texted
Show me.
Berkey.
You don't even have a sister.
I immediately texted Berkey in sub 60 seconds. Like, this might be the best troll ever.
It would just go on forever.
you know what's weird though is like if you flip that around, I could easily tell you guys that like I have a brother who plays professional cricket or something, and you guys would never know.
Well,
Right.
the difference
Right.
is,
Believe it.
the difference is, Hunt, you're right. We would never know, but also we wouldn't care. Whereas
That is very true.
You know, he kind of appealed to your interest here.
He did
of
appeal
the MLS.
to the fact. I was like, oh, cool,
Right.
this is fun.
Right, like if you tell me that you have a cousin who's on the Angels, now suddenly my interest is piqued, but I also call bullshit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He like threaded the needle of
Right.
I care, but I don't have the info to call bullshit on it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that was a good, very good
that
troll.
was well done.
And you would have gotten away with that forever. Like if Conrad hadn't brought that up, I would have
had
never
to.
questioned
We
it.
were just
Yeah,
here.
I know someone who's that guy's uncle. Just talking to someone else.
Speaking of trolls and Efro, I don't know if you've been paying any attention here, Conrad.
Oh,
but
shit.
Efro sent me a little gift in the mail. He wants to see some fucking pain.
I'm just curious how the grip is going to come into play with the slap.
I told you it fattens the hand.
fattens up the hand.
Yeah, you know, more surface area.
Yeah,
Right?
If you look
Like-
at professional arm wrestlers, if you actually just look at their hands,
They're big,
like
right?
right hand versus left, it actually grows. Your fingers get thicker.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
But
you told me that my hands wouldn't get sausage if I worked on my grip.
I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you anything.
You did, because I said, oh, my
I
hands
actually
are
saw
going
it
to
in the
get...
chat.
Yeah, right?
I did see it
right?
in the chat.
I
Because
mean,
I said, my hands are going to get massive. Have you seen these guys' fingers?
well,
And you
I don't
said
see any
nah.
downside to this.
But isn't that like the people who think they're going to accidentally get ripped
Why
if they
don't we-
work out?
That-
Like,
that's
Why
what
don't we
it
send a
doesn't
set
really
of those
happen.
to Kenny Pickett?
Yeah. Well, he has small hands. I don't think you want small hands to get fat.
That's true. Just grip strength is good.
I don't know if I told this story or not, but we were playing at Bellagio last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and Andrea, the resident Italian, He was talking shit on me. I can't remember what happened. Like I lost a pot or something. He said something to me, and I just looked at him. And I go like this, and he goes, "Jesus, that's the biggest finger I've ever been whipped off."
You do have like wide
He
fingers.
has sausage fingers. Fat.
I have very fat
fingers. Yeah.
Were they always like that, or did
No.
you?
They're always like that.
Always.
Oh.
Yeah.
When he was
Since
a
I've
kid,
known him.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of
back when he was
disturbing for a
Fat Matt, he
child.
was, yeah.
Just mitts.
I was fat then though. So
Right.
it
he
was-
lost all his weight except for in his fingers.
It might just be muscle.
Yeah, that's right. You're goddamn right. It is, Melissa.
He's just got swole ass fingers.
You think I'm repping this thing on 160
Just getting his
pressure
fingers
for?
wet too much.
We're gonna need to get an
Okay.
ambulance outside waiting during the slap. Like you know how they always have one on standby at like a football game. We're gonna need that. Like
Yeah.
just right outside the
So
office.
remind me what the terms of this bet are, because
I lost
I'm not.
it.
Like,
Well,
You lost
It's a
already?
loss. It's a loss.
I mean, it's not a loss yet, but the Steelers were projected to be a 9.5 win team
Okay.
by the books, or maybe it was 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah,
out of how many games?
17.
Okay.
So basically, they were expected to go about 500.
Right.
I think week 4 of this season, Conrad was calling my fanhood into question and was talking massive amounts of shit, saying the Steelers weren't going to win another game. They're awful. Kenny Pickett's the worst. And I said, okay, buddy, the betting line is 8.5. I'll take over 8.5.
I think this was
This is
before
preseason.
preseason.
This is
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
preseason.
preseason.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes,
100%.
yes,
I was waiting to
100%.
cut you off.
Right. Yeah.
Man.
But
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah, I think
anyways,
it
it's
was-
still valid. Your story.
Even
Right.
even better because they looked amazing in the preseason. They looked like shit after the first 2 weeks. It would have been more reasonable. But anyway, whenever the bet was made, I said, all right, I'll take the over on the 8.5 wins. You can have the under, and whoever loses gets to slap the other one in the face. And Conrad not only agreed, but he went so far as to demand that the loser of the bet had to be on his knees.
Wow.
Now,
True.
I pushed back on that, so I'm not going to make him bow down and kiss the ring.
It's kind of
But
kinky.
Well, what do you
Like,
mean?
for no
Bad out
reason.
of kiss the ring. You said that wasn't part of the bet.
I agree. I
Alright.
do agree. I was not going to get on my knees for you. I don't expect you to get on your knees for me, but man, I'm going to do that to you. I'm going to fucking put you under.
You're gonna give him some CTE with that slap.
I hope not. I don't
worry.
want
It might
the
knock
intro.
it might knock it out.
Yeah,
It
that's
might
true.
knock the CT
I
out.
gotta
don't
tell you
worry.
that slap show where like it's a competition of slapping each other. That is a recipe for people getting really bad concussions.
I know.
For
Like,
sure.
it's so
For
fucked
sure.
up.
Is it? I thought concussions were only front to back.
No.
Is it? You can get it from sideways, like
sure.
lateral.
Your brain
lateral
is-
hits?
Yeah, I thought it was
Any-
your brain.
anytime your
It
brain's
is.
shaking
It is.
around.
But for some reason, I thought that the majority of them came from the brain moving
Also,
front
if
to
you,
back.
I think
That's
if you
probably-
hit your ear, if you hit an ear pretty bad,
Oh, if I
You
hit
can
it-
actually deafen someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you slap someone in the ear, like in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
right
you
way,
break
where
their
it like
eardrum.
creates a vacuum,
Yeah.
Right.
vacuum, you can.
Do
Yeah.
you think that would be bad if we did that?
Probably.
yeah,
Would it? I
I
don't know.
think so.
If he starts bleeding from the ear, we probably went too far.
Yeah, maybe.
You should just do
Maybe.
that big
content.
sumo wrestler wrestle. You know when they put on those big suits and wrestle in the sumo costumes?
Yeah, I do know
amazing.
that, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to slap him in the face.
Oh.
He doesn't want
Well,
that.
as
You
a
could do
side,
that
maybe
and
as a
slap him in
side
the face.
activity.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
We can do
Yeah,
it.
maybe.
That's yeah.
No, I'm
We
just
can
going to
do that
slap.
for
I'm just
fun.
going to slap him in the face. That's all.
Okay. I
I-
kind of feel like you're hyping it up so much it's going to actually be really gentle.
I would never.
That would be rude.
Uh,
Honestly, I don't expect that from you. And I'd
never.
call you a pussy for the rest of your life.
I would
So make
never.
sure you slap the shit out of me.
Keep talking to me, big guy.
I'm
Keep
good.
Oh my
talking.
God. You
All right,
guys,
we got
should I leave?
We got a fantastic show, a big one today with Game of Gold. Today's episode was fire. It was one of the best ones, I think, so far.
Yeah.
A lot of drama, not as much poker, which I think is truly the recipe moving forward for this. Let's just work our way back. So, did we cover Monday? We did cover Monday,
did.
right? But Melissa and Matt weren't here, so we can talk a little bit about Monday's show. But I want to start with today. To me, the biggest thing to highlight, I guess, is not Maria sweeping
Or jungle sleeping.
or Jungle sleeping.
I really like that shirt though.
Do you?
I do. I really
There's a lot
do.
going on.
I really don't.
I mean, I think it's so cool. I would wear it.
Poseidon Dan.
It's a look.
It is a look for sure. I think, we can talk a little bit about Maria sweeping. I think obviously that was huge for Team Fedor.
Mm-hmm.
We all probably pretty much agree that they were the strongest team after the draft. I don't think that was really close. Yo's team was good, but
Yeah.
I think that like top to bottom, if like who's the weakest player? I guess Josh.
Right.
on Fedor's team, but he's strong.
But
he's savvy.
like has the gift of luck. Like he's he's the
He's just a
lucky
blessed
guy.
individual, so that
He also
helps.
has the gifts of gamble.
Yeah, he's
The
very
gift of
savvy.
gamble and the gift of luck. Like he's just notoriously, that his squad is like the lucky squad.
He's sharp when it comes to like all the intricacies surrounding the outside of poker, right?
I think
like
he understands
playing the other person.
He understands how
Yes.
gambling works. as
Right,
well. Like
exactly.
He understood that there was I think he was heads up against Charlie or something.
Yeah, he was about to gamble 'cause
he was
he
like,
knew.
I'm a dog. I have
Right.
to gamble.
Yeah.
Right. He's not going to miss those spots.
He understands
precisely.
edge
Right.
and
Yeah, he knows how edges work and EV and shit.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think, had they somehow gotten swept by, well, I guess it doesn't matter. There was no way that they were going to the loser bracket because the loser of that match just moves on to round 3. So we did see Maria come out, sweep round 2. She picks up 90 coins. The team itself picks up 100 each. So I think that puts her like well in the lead with number of coins. I think she was second coming into today.
yeah,
And then
she was second to
She
Yo.
leaps above Yo now, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah. She picked
Yo
up
is in
130
second.
coins today, so
Wow.
It's, like,
that's pretty big.
massive.
That's
Yeah.
so many.
So I think she's going to the final somewhere around
It kind of seems like the
400-ish?
final will be like deep stack a little bit.
Well, I
It's
think
really
it's-
start that way.
I think it's going to be one of those things where they start it. If it's a sit and go, they're going to start it super deep, and then the blinds are going to go up to the point where they're like just short again.
Like that. Really.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this for a second, right? Pad's put out a tweet today basically giving his review as he's been doing. And the first thing that caught my eye was him saying that the show ends next Wednesday. I'm like, wait, how? How do we only have 3 episodes left? We haven't even finished round 2 yet. There's 4 rounds. Like, we spent 9 episodes.
The final episode might be a 2-hour.
Well, I could see that.
yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be a
Yeah.
2-hour like final table.
Man,
whatever
why
they're
do
gonna
that, though? Why not just put on another episode?
Well, a
because
lot
they
of
like
times
being able to
finales
say
are
it's a
big-
special
Yeah,
episode,
a special 2-hour episode.
TV shows do that all
They
the
do that all the
time.
time.
I know
Big
that-
Brother does that. Their final is always 2 hours.
Totally understand that they
Yeah.
do it, but we're in the YouTube streets now.
No, I know.
If you can get an extra video out that gets 250,000 views on it, I think
Yeah,
you'd want to do that.
That's
No,
true.
you're right. You're right.
I mean, truthfully,
we
I
don't
think
even know that they are going to do that. I'm just
Right,
suggesting.
just
I don't
speculating.
even know. Yeah.
Truthfully, I think that there's a case to be made that they could have just put these out every day as 30-minute episodes and turned this into 25 eps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Something
feel
along
like
those lines.
I feel like the way it is good because people they're like, oh, I wish this was every
Agreed.
day.
Right.
I guess I'm
Momentum.
speaking more
Right.
to the 52-minute runtime is a lot to slog through. Or
Yeah.
at least sometimes it feels
Yeah,
like a lot.
trust me, I went through.
Right.
I
but
binged
I-
to catch up.
I
for
do
this
agree with you, though. If
episode.
it were every day, it would be too much. Like, we wouldn't be covering it
I was
every
watching
day.
this morning, and you hear that music come when you know that it's about to end, and I'm just like, wait, it's over?
I know.
Right.
that-
I was like, holy crap, that went
it
quick.
really did. This last
This episode went
quick.
really
I, thought,
quick.
I can't
Yeah.
believe nothing bad has happened to me. I walked the dogs while watching it. And I mean, I'm fully engaged watching it. Crossing.
You walk right out in the
I
car.
Mama
definitely
Joe
cried.
ate raw chicken while watching it. She was so into
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Who did that?
Mama Joe.
Joe.
Oh,
She had Wendy's gave her a raw chicken sandwich, and I was like, "How'd you take so many bites?" And she said, "Because she was watching the show."
Game of Gold. I always walk against traffic because I don't trust anybody driving, especially like I know how many people are like looking at their phones and shit. But now I'm the one looking at my phone, and at one point this like SUV like buzzes me. Where if I had my hand out, I think he would have clipped me. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm really putting myself in danger here. Like, I got to pay a little bit of attention to what's going on in
Also,
my
like
surroundings.
people do not swerve around. I
Multitaskers,
don't know
am I
what
right?
is with that.
It's wild.
I always swerve around. Like
Yeah.
I'll literally go straight into the other lane.
We're
when
walking
someone's
on like back streets in a community, and they're just like, nope, I'm going to toe the line
It's
of the
insane.
shoulder of the
Right.
road.
They like push you off the road.
It's like, I got 2 dogs here, bro. What are you doing? Get out of here. All right. So anyway, moving on, we're going to see Fedor, Josh, and Maria in the finals. I think that there's something interesting about that in the sense that they did have such strong team chemistry and they built such a friendly dynamic. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out now that they have to compete against each other.
Yeah, especially Josh and Maria, who were on the original team.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
Maria seems like she's really able to disconnect that, though,
Maria's cutthroat.
which I
She's-
like so
she's cold as
admire
fuck.
because
She's great.
I'm like that's really a weakness of mine is like when I'm playing with someone against someone I like, it's really hard for me to like. She just turns into a savage.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to do that when I'm playing with someone I like.
you know what I think as well though is Fedor, like he's not been talking about it, but you know that Fedor has been dissecting how Josh and Maria are playing.
Yes.
And every conversation he's had with Josh, with Maria about strategy, he's locking that info away, and he now has a really detailed idea of how both of them play.
Yeah.
And you don't get to where Fedor is without having that killer instinct. I know he's like a nice guy and everything, and he doesn't give that off, but you know Fedor is going to be going out there and having a really clear idea of what exploits he's going to take against both of those players and anybody else that he's teamed with over the course of this game as well.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that throughout. He doesn't really comment much on strategic spots. He really does take that like center approach of like, that's interesting.
Jason was doing the same thing.
Commentator approach.
Like the high roller guys that are in there, it's like you know that they know how valuable it is to not educate the rest of the field too much, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw the coin update there. So the whole team is coming in with over 200 big blinds.
Wrong.
So Josh is like very close behind Maria with 220 coins. Fedor, I think, had like 191. That's going to be interesting because they're going to make up for half of the field in round 4. And they're all coming in with over 200 big blinds. The only person who could possibly catch them will be Yo. Yo actually has the opportunity to come in with the most coins, I think, depending on like what round 3
I wonder
actually
how they're
proves
going
to
to
be.
do round 3. Are they like, I wonder how much or if any coins you're going to be able to accumulate in round 3. I'm sure some.
You kind of have to, right? Because like if Kinda makes the finals, she's obviously not going to go in with 21 blinds. I mean, maybe she does, right? Like maybe she does, and it's just a matter of like playing for your life. But Charlie actually might have the capacity to earn a bunch of coins too. I don't remember how high up he was on the leaderboard, but he won a couple matches
going in, I think.
Yeah, he won a couple matches in the first round before they ultimately lost out for like 30 or 60 coins. I think they won one match or two. He won and then lost to Maria, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he won one. So he got an extra 30 coins there. He won one match today, correct? Yeah, he beat Olga. So that's another 30 coins. So he's already picked up 60 coins.
Oh, I felt bad for.
I love it.
Yeah,
I would cry
agreed.
too.
I love everything about this losers bracket. I love everything about Team Olga, Team Robin, and Nikita. Like I'm so my alliance has completely flip flopped from where it was. Like
They're just like so wholesome.
Yes, and like it's so genuine, right? Like like Robin truly being the young, optimistic, like, no, you just got to stay positive.
They're all up-and-comers.
Yeah,
you know?
but there's definitely an age difference, right? Like Robin, I think, is like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Where Olga and Nikita, I think, are at least in their higher 20s. And, you know, Olga's like married. I think she has a kid. Like she's very mature by comparison, I would say, like from a life experience standpoint. And she's also just like so Eastern European. And I love it on the surface because, you know, they're just like tough as nails.
I know. Well, when I commentated on her ladies' final table, was my impression of her. So seeing her like be vulnerable like that was really,
So that's the thing.
Just such a well-rounded character.
The exterior is so tough, and it's just like I'm being a realist. Like we're in a tough spot. I don't believe in the team.
But then you see where it's coming from. And
she
it's
cares
really
so
from
fucking
a soft
much,
place.
right? She cares so much that like she's trying to kind of almost cancel out the emotions that are bubbling underneath the surface. And like to see her like kind of, you know, really be this invested emotionally,
really
actually give that much a shit about Robin and, you know, him doing well after kind of saying like, no, we stink, we're out, that kind of thing.
Honestly, that's so you.
I know. Maybe that's why I find it to be
but
so
on the
good.
outside is a doomer. Like
yeah. It is. There is something about hedging emotionally where you kind of just like expect the worst and then celebrate the best. But yeah, I mean, I think that like huge win for Robin. Obviously, I became such a big fan. Like he'd kind of been my dark horse all along, but I became such a big fan because he's just so youthful. And it's a lot of what I really like about Landon, but we'll never tell him. Where
that's so funny that he's not here and now you're willing to say something nice about him. Like,
no. His head get too big, you know?
Exactly.
Very
Melissa
on brand.
understands. Yeah. No, it's not that I never compliment him. I'm not going to compliment him for the little things that can really toe the line between being youthfully exuberant and annoying.
Yeah.
Right? But like Robin was like cranking out push-ups before the match.
It's so Landon.
I know, it's 100%. And it's just like, I love it because you're really just trying to grasp at straws to control the uncontrollable here and go play three turbo sit and goes.
Guided meditation.
I love
I had to fast forward through that.
I love that Nikita came in and was like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna meditate. We're gonna just like sit in a little circle and hold hands." I love that she just came in and did that.
Especially because it was after Olga said the thing like, "I believe in myself. I don't believe in the team." And like they could have taken that so wrong, but instead they just saw they gave her the benefit of the doubt and they just like saw it as an emotion.
It's really ironic there too. I wonder how much Olga is projecting because she doesn't consider herself good at heads up. She knows that she's probably the weakest of the three. And I think like I would imagine her spending some time with them. She can see that like both Robin and Nikita do understand heads up.
I was impressed by Nikita's heads up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she was kidding when she said it's her best game. It seems like she's relatively studied in it. I thought it was really smart having her go third. I thought the order that they chose was like perfect, which kind of takes us into the DW Charlie camp. I think this strategy is wild.
Absurd.
I completely flipped on Charlie this episode. Like I've been kind of very subtly saying like, I hate to say it, but like the man is playing the game. He's doing great. He's not making any mistakes. He's setting himself up for a lot of success. I thought he absolutely took his eye off the ball this episode. David was 100% right. Like David recognizes he's the weakest heads up player of the three. He acknowledges that their best opportunity to win is Charlie taking on whoever, and it's just a proverbial free roll to put your two weaker players out there and hopefully take out whoever they send out first.
Right. Yeah.
It's like being in an ICM spot, right? Like it's like when if in this case where it's elimination, if you don't win, now there's a different element to it where survival does matter more, or at least you're not quite in the same situation of just wanting to maximize EV. You're in the situation of like, we really need to maximize the chances of staying in this thing.
Yeah, and Charlie didn't switch. He didn't switch his mindset. He's just still thinking about EV.
Well, it's interesting because you can think about EV, but the difference is now individual EV.
That's what I mean.
Just naturally decreased.
I mean, he's still thinking about individual EV is what I mean, and accumulating coins as the most important thing when survival is obviously the most important thing.
Did he get coins in the first?
He did. He got 30.
Yeah, he did.
I was thinking maybe if he didn't get coins, then that's why he's like scrambling.
No, and even if that's true, just like this is one of those scenarios where it's not like he has no coins, right? It's not like a scenario where you have no coins and you have no ability to accumulate coins, where like if you make the finals, you're just dead.
Yeah, you're like, I got 10 bigs.
He won round one. Yeah. You know, he won his round one sit and go, so he obviously has coins from that. He won a match round one of round two, so he got 30 coins from that. And more importantly, like if he wins matches in this particular elimination game, that's going to be more coins. But even if he doesn't, I'm pretty sure the team gets 100 coins for advancing.
I wonder if he thought that the other team was going to put their like toughest player first.
If he thought that, then it would be an even bigger mistake going first. Because you would just have a free roll to let either David or Andy knock out their best player. Yeah. Right? So there's like nothing. I just don't understand where he was coming from. I thought David was spot on. And something that personally frustrates me, I know we were kind of talking about this off air, but something that like personally frustrates me is when somebody is clearly being selfish, which I think that David was right to call out for Charlie, because it seems like he's only one track minded on accumulating coins.
They flipped.
Didn't
so
flip
what
for
were
it.
they flipping for?
Second and third, right?
No, they flipped totally.
They flipped.
Charlie just won
They
the flip.
flipped for first. Charlie said, like, we'll flip for first. Charlie won the flip.
And then he said,
you guys figure it out.
So they ended up flipping anyway, and it was just the order that he had wanted.
Yeah, but the bigger point is that flipping here is a huge negative. Like they're just giving a lot up, I think. And maybe I'm overestimating how much they're giving up having Charlie go first versus last, but I think like I guess what I find to be very frustrating is like when David makes the points that he makes that are abundantly clear to be correct to anybody with a working theoretical mind. Charlie's counterpoint is so reductive and insulting to everyone's intelligence in the room in saying that the EV of me going first is greater than the EV of me going last.
Right.
And that's just fundamentally false.
Yeah.
Right? So like you're just either he's just like confused and needs it broken down to him.
No, I don't think so.
Or he's trying to manipulate.
Or he's just manipulating them.
Yeah, of course.
In which case, I think David has every right to get more upset.
Right.
It's crazy to me
he
that
has
Andy...
to understand that going last is
right.
better.
So like what frustrates me
team.
as a viewer is Andy's in a position to mediate, and he kind of like plays Switzerland. Where he's just like,
him.
well, you know, Charlie, it's just he's non-confrontational, right?
He's just like, you know what, you guys are nuts. Leave me out of it.
Like David's a very confrontational person. Andy's very non-confrontational, and Charlie is kind of the one who would actually be better served in the mediation role. It would be better if it was a disagreement between Andy and David, I think.
Yeah.
Because Charlie is like pretty even-keeled and logical. The problem is when you're trying to manipulate getting your own way, it's easy to bend that logic and try to, you know, just convince the guy who's non-confrontational
especially when you're coming
sides.
from a perspective of I'm smarter than everybody else and my opinion is more right.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Which Charlie always is.
I mean, I think David's response was spot on, like he said. Pretty well.
Yeah, I like that he got heated.
Yeah.
I like that he fought hard to try to get this changed.
I actually think that hurt him. I think if he would have been a little bit more, subdued in his response, it probably would have been a little bit better.
You mean just like diffuse Charlie a little bit, like calm him down.
Not so much
a little
diffuse
bit.
Charlie. It's
just didn't come in so
play
hot.
The game
Correct.
back.
Yeah.
Well, how do you go? I mean, first of all, this argument should have taken place before they flipped, obviously.
Yeah.
But how do you go about diffusing or I guess like neutralizing a force like Charlie in that scenario where Andy just doesn't seem to care?
I think you make him put on a shirt.
I think that's a good start.
That should have happened episodes ago.
Yeah,
you know?
I definitely think that's a good start.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just feel like it's frustrating because from a viewing standpoint, Charlie's gaslighting really, really hard. And there are two people in the room where one person realizes he's being gaslit and the other one is kind of helping gaslight.
Yeah, maybe David needs to convince Andy first, like, hey, listen, strategically for all of us, this is the best play, and then get him on board with him. And now it's 2 against 1, and then maybe they can convince Charlie that, like, listen, this is the best chance to give us, you know, to survive. And but if you just go straight after Charlie and then Andy just sits there,
I feel like go with the heartstrings. Just be like, man, I really, because he said in the interview, I really like don't want to have that much pressure on me again.
Right.
Just be like, I just can't do it, man. Maybe cry a little bit.
Yeah.
I think can't take the pressure.
The only problem with that is
I was bullied when I was younger. Like
that's smart.
You know, like just play it back.
Did you see Charlie try to?
How weird was that?
Yeah, he literally tried to trauma dump on Robin, and Robin was like, I don't know, man. I grew up with pretty good childhood.
It was weird. It was a strategic thing, obviously.
100%.
But it was so
he was trying to make
out
it vulnerable.
of place.
Right.
And I feel like no one in the rooms even acknowledged it. And I was like, that's so bizarre to ask someone you're about to play heads up.
I am so over. I'm so over Charlie's live poker voodoo bullshit. Like I am so over that.
It was very interesting to see him just be stone wrong on a read.
That was hilarious
against Olga.
He's like, "Oh, you look so strong. I'm gonna fold top pair," and she just has bottom pair, and he's got
correct.
Like, that was so great.
Right,
and
like
they were
taking
like,
a hand
don't talk to him. Like he's gonna see your soul.
He
and
literally
just
took a hand that's like a pure call on the turn and dumped it.
Yeah, it was top pair.
Yeah, like listen, I've anchored myself throughout 20 years of poker of having a sense of being able to strongly interpret the live environment, and I felt like there's been a lot of tells throughout the years that have made me a bunch of money. In 2023, I can very confidently say that that's less than 10% of my game, and it's not because I've actively moved away from it.
Yeah, and you also don't talk about your voodoo bullshit as well. Like you don't go out there and talk about how great of a live read you have on everybody in front of you. Like it's just Charlie's obnoxious about it.
It's definitely more of like a trying to get in their head thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's like the telling Maria that you watched hours and hours of tape on her. Like it gives you a psychological edge. And yeah, like I do think that I've probably earned some extra money being thought of as the guy who can like read people pretty well. And I actually do think at some points of my career, I was able to physically read people well because they were just weak at covering it.
You probably still do, but more unconscious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some edge to be gained there. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't find myself in big river spots anymore, just like spending 80% of my energy trying to get a read and 20% trying to rework the hand.
Right.
It's kind of the exact opposite. Like if I don't already have a pre-baselined tell on somebody that is reliable enough where I can just execute on it over and over and over again, I've stopped because the rest is so much noise. Like you're so inaccurate over the duration of things.
Right.
And it's so unreliable. Like even when I'm in the tank personally myself, where like I've gone all in and the other person's waiting to make a decision, I spend most of my time trying to replicate what I look like when I'm nervous.
I know, me too.
Right? It's just like, I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm going to give them something.
I just tell myself, like, I want them to fold. I want them to fold.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like,
I act nervous.
Like if ever I see somebody's eyes like start to come towards me, it's like, okay, well, I don't know what you're looking for, but you're gonna get a bunch of shit right now. You know, like I'm gonna drop my chips, I'm gonna gulp, I'm gonna like, you know, move up and down.
Thing.
And I do it with or without a hand because it's just like, whatever, man. If you want to look for something, you're gonna find a reason to arrive at the decision that you want anyway. So here you go, like go nuts. So yeah, like this whole like, I'm pretty confident I have a strong read on her that's really reliable.
I have one reliable
it's like,
tell.
Look, man, you're just not going to get a reliable tell on everybody you come against. And people who say that they do, I just find that to be very bullshitty. I will say,
though, there's one very notorious character at the Win who, whenever he has a really good hand, he checks like this. And if you play at the Win, you know who I'm talking about. Everybody knows this is like whenever I see him do it and I see someone pay him, I'm like, what are you doing? Right. He does it every time he flops a set or like has a straight or something.
There are definitely a handful of people. There are definitely a handful of people that I can catalog in my head and say like, okay, I definitely have like a long-standing reliable tell on them. But it's like, you know, I've played against thousands of players throughout 20 plus years.
Right. And
I might have a dozen.
And you've played hundreds of hours with most of them. Or
correct.
Like the ones that you have the reads on, you played hundreds of hours with. It's not like you sit down to play someone heads up and
ask them 3 questions.
Right, yeah, 5 hands in. You're
ask
like,
them if they were bullied when they were
about
younger.
Their childhood. It's like, okay, I know what your range is on this board.
Wasn't bullied, has a little bit of a wider range.
Right. Like, if he was bullied as a kid, he's bluffing 10% more than if he wasn't. Like that is just absolute horseshit. That no one can do that.
Yeah,
you just wanted him to play worse, get tapped.
I agree with that.
I understand the idea of just throwing shit out there to like try to throw someone
like
off.
A perception of him thinking that like he wants him to think he has.
It's actually really fucked up.
I just think Matt's bigger point of like how it gets propagated as like this unbelievable skill that this guy who almost barely ever plays live possesses. It just doesn't. Where's the one-to-one correlation?
Online, huh?
Yeah, where's the correlation here? If I had this ability to just see through the cards based off of somebody's posture, I would spend 2,000 hours a year at the fucking table.
Right. Yeah. And the fear of somebody else having a really good read on you is a very real thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've had students that I've worked with in the past where their biggest issue was whenever they came up against players that they knew were good players, they just instantly thought this guy knows what I have. Like,
right. And they stop bluffing.
There are 3 players in poker that I don't think have picked up on a live read in the better part of a decade that everybody is convinced picks up on every live read and therefore adjusts their play against them. It's Chidwick, Foxen, and Chance. I don't think any of them have a confident read in a single human being they play against. But they've sold themselves so hard as the live read guys who absolutely stare through your fucking soul when you're at the table that they've intimidated most, especially recreationals, into playing differently against them. And I know this is true. We played at a killer table on day 4 of the main event where it was me, Chance, Kuhn, Jack, who ended up getting 3rd, a couple other online kids, and this woman, I believe her name was Kathy. And, you know, she was just a rank amateur who was like so like a little bit starstruck and so happy to be on the TV table and everything else. And Chance was immediately to her right, and she just fell head over heels into the fucking trap.
Oh no.
He would stare her down, honestly, like to a point where like it was bothersome to me because it was so clear the difference in skill here.
Yeah.
That this is just like
do you really need to push the extra edge?
Yeah, to me this is like one of those areas where it's like, you know, there's nothing unethical about it, but like it's really towing a line of like what is just not okay at a table. And in the main event, okay, like all the EVs up top,
it's okay,
I get it.
But it makes you more of an asshole.
Yeah, I kind of, and I like Chance. Like, I'm not trying to call him out for anything. It's just like it made me uncomfortable to see him stare a woman in the eyes every single hand who's playing her first 10K. Like there's just no way she had any level of comfort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, it's a rite of passage to get stared down by chance. Come on, it's fine. She's got a story to tell.
When
now.
it's he and I think it's just like funny. Well, you know what I mean? It's like he's like staring deep into my soul, and it's like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. How are you gonna figure out like what's going on here? That kind of thing. And I think it's so easy to be that guy who convinces yourself that you pick up on a lot of things and then find the positive reinforcement, right? Like maybe she punts in a spot and it's like, oh, that happened because I was staring at her and I saw that like she, twitched her shoulder a little bit.
But really, it was like you made her more nervous than she punted.
Right, yeah. You made her crack under the pressure, which was probably going to happen inevitably anyway. It's a massive spot for most people, especially like if you have a job or whatever. So yeah, like I'm not saying that there's nothing there, because I still personally like try to baseline people and I try to take in all the information I possibly can. I just don't think it's the science that it's being projected to be. You know, I don't really think people are deriving anywhere close to the reliability of being in the 70th, 80th, 90th percentile of confidence,
especially against really good players. Other really good players, like sure, super amateurs, like they're gonna have tells, like the guy just slamming his hand down when he checks. Like, yeah, of course, the really low level players, sure, they're gonna give off a lot more. Charlie's talking about like really, really good professional seasoned players.
He's playing a dozen hands. He's literally playing a dozen hands.
Maria really doesn't give off anything.
Really bad tells.
Like, do you think when Chidwick and Foxen are seated next to each other in a high roller and they just gaze into one another's eyes for the entirety of a time bank, that either of them are picking up on anything?
Completely an intimidation
thing. What do you think they're thinking about?
Why is this guy looking back at me? It's the only thing that makes any sense. It's
like a staring contest.
It's so aggressive.
I was watching a high roller event once, and there was a moment like that, and like my wife walked into the room. She was like, "That's the gayest thing I've ever seen." It's just like two guys just staring into each other's eyes. Like, it was so weird.
I honestly, I would feel uncomfortable doing that with like a romantic partner. I'd be like, "This is just too much."
Right? Like, this is
too much.
I don't understand how someone can stare into someone else's eyes for that length of time. Like, isn't there science that says like if you get two people to stare at each other for like
30 seconds,
it's like they fall in love, or something like that. It's like,
it's like
it's so weird.
It's too intimate. It's too intimate at the
especially
fucking
when they're
table.
right next to each other. That's
man.
You know what? I'm just gonna stare down every single person at the Jewel today. Yeah, I'm just gonna stare them all down.
We're back.
I've dabbled with it here and there. It makes me more uncomfortable to be the starer
than
the one being stared at.
Same.
100%. You know, it's like I feel like I'm that creepy guy in the
and
gym.
Then I'll look away because I can't take it. It's too weird.
What I do as a substitute for that is I focus on people's hands, because
agreed. I think hands give away a lot.
There's so many hand tells, and at the same time you're looking at them and you can kind of see in your peripherals, like if they're moving any other part of their body, you can still see it. Yeah. But you're also not staring them down.
Right. Yeah. That was quite the tangent on live tells.
But it's relevant.
No. Super relevant to all of this. But I guess coming full circle. So now we kind of get to see how this is going to play out based off of Charlie's strategy. So that's really what this all boils down to, right? Is that there was a discrepancy on this team where they were either going to execute David's strategy or Charlie's strategy. And in either regard, David was only ever going to go first or second, right? So it's not a huge deviation. The difference is now you have Andy, a deep stacked live cash game player, anchoring a heads up turbo sit and go for the life of the event, versus Charlie, who is very, very skilled and has done this a bunch.
It's just crazy to me that like you're professional poker players. You think on a strategic level, and then instead of using a strategy, you just rely on a flip to base on what you're going to do.
I think the problem is that he was thinking about it. Well, I mean, first of all, he was thinking about the EV of gathering coins, but then secondarily, he was thinking about everything being equitable. And I think he overinvested in that. Like, to me, this episode really tipped Charlie's hand, where it's important to him to be seen as equitable, even if he doesn't believe that to be ultimately what's best. Right.
It's giving a little to get a little, right? Like, it's
correct.
You're willing to give up a little in exchange for most of the time getting what you want.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that I don't want to be overly critical of this because he's playing the game, right? So you should do whatever strategy you believe to be best. But it definitely came off like Puppet Master vibes.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to present this equitable flip to everybody. But I know that if I or Andy win the flip, I'm still probably going to get to go first. Right? If Andy would have won the flip, it would have been interesting because now David has to like hard sell out to convince Andy to buy into his strategy.
Yeah.
Where Charlie doesn't have to hard sell all that much because he's just deferred to. Right? So if Andy wins the flip, it's kind of just like, listen, I definitely should go first. Here are the reasons why. And it's not going to take a ton of convincing. Right? So yeah, I think that like...
Was it whoever wins the flip chooses the order?
Correct.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was just to go first, but...
I thought it was to go first.
Yeah,
why wouldn't it be
second.
just to choose the order? Like that seems...
Was they flipped for who would go first, and then he said, "Okay, then you guys flip for who's."
Yeah, that's what he said. He said we'll flip for first, and then he said you guys decide between yourselves.
But isn't that kind of just because he wants to go first? Like if David wins the flip, well, I guess David also wants to go first.
I think because Charlie won the flip, we won't know whether they were flipping for first or whether they were flipping
Correct.
for who decides.
Yeah. I would imagine.
Did Andy have an opinion either way?
I don't think he cared.
He didn't care, right?
I'm surprised he didn't care. He seems very indifferent.
He's
to a
like,
lot in
man,
this
I
game."
play cash.
Yeah, Andy doesn't
do y'all want.
This was kind of why I said I would have drafted Andy because he doesn't seem to care about winning the overall competition, but he cares. He's very heavily invested in each individual challenge.
Yeah, like he cares about the poker, but not
Correct.
the meta game.
I think Andy's in the jungle category of almost $500,000 is not actually that much money for him to really care about because of how high he usually plays.
I think because they're stuck in a place in Korea for X amount of time. Like the money definitely matters.
Wait, this is in Korea?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I just assumed it was some studio somewhere in LA. Like, wow.
But yeah, I mean, I think the money ultimately does matter. It's just more so like I think he doesn't care about playing the politics of the game. He just wants to let the cards fall as they may. If he's one of the final six, great. He'll play his heart out, try to win the whole fucking thing. And if he's not, like whatever, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
David Williams in the chat, he said, "Yo, DW here and watching now. We did discuss before the flip, and it did start out subdued. I even had Andy on my side before Charlie got to the room, but the edit has it showing post flip with the blow up.
Right,
Which makes sense.
So he did what we said. You tried to get Andy on your side first, and then
it still failed.
2-1.
Yeah.
Team DW, man.
Yeah. I don't know how you prevent the flip from occurring there, or I guess maybe you do just flip and then you kind of have a pact with Andy where it's like
just tell Charlie you were bullied. It's sealed.
Right. You're honestly
gotta attack his weak.
Honestly, you're right because
if he's playing that game against you, you got to do it against him.
Psychological warfare.
It's just like, well, hey, I know your heartstrings. I'm gonna pull on them and see if it works.
It's wild to actually say, but you are spot fucking on.
Yeah.
Like
if someone's playing that game at you, how are you gonna come at them with just logic? They know the logic.
And I think that's why you and I kind of disagreed off camera, is that I think we both acknowledged that Charlie was gaslighting.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like, I don't like that David got hot.
Well, because I it's not that I disagreed with him. I just thought that it didn't help his case.
Right.
It wasn't the right strategy to go about it. To channel that hotness into being manipulative.
Yeah, and see, like that's not me. Like, if I know I'm being gaslit, I'm going to scream.
I know.
We've seen it. Berk.
Realistically, I probably will too. Like, it's just that if I were in, like omniscient mode.
And I also think you're less confrontational than I am.
Yeah.
Like I think that you'll just kind of shy away from what escalates things. Where like
I'll
absolutely
go with the
looking to
diffusing
escalate.
route, and then like still try and get my way, but in a diffused way.
I think what's also really difficult is when you're actually in the middle of a conversation or an argument with someone, it's really hard to try to think strategically about it while also interacting with them.
Yeah,
like it's so hard to
build
your strategy for this argument on the fly.
Especially if you're David, where like maybe you preemptively expected Charlie to just understand that Charlie should go last.
Yeah, based on the first round of the heads up, like it was pretty.
Yeah, it's like the obvious strategy, so like you're caught off guard, right? It's like, oh, I want to go first.
Right, and it's really funny too to see it switch from like round 1 to round 2, where Charlie's in the position to kind of like get into the heads of all the other teams. Like, oh, you guys didn't flip? You're just gonna let Fedor go first and get all the coins?
Yeah.
Oh my!
I know.
Clutch my
but then in the second one,
pearls.
I thought it was so sweet how Maria's like, like, only if you're okay with it. Like, can I go first? And he's like, yeah, like 100%, you're going first. Like, I believe it. It was like, oh my God.
That was what I thought was like when I was saying about Fedor's, like, he's willing to give a little to get a little, right?
Yeah,
like,
because he knew he was always going to go second.
Yeah. And he was kind of okay with like, okay, yeah, maybe the highest EV is me going first, but like, I don't ultimately care that much.
Right. The second highest EV is me going second.
Yeah.
Maria sweeping isn't the most probable outcome.
Right. And he also recognizes, I think he's, it kind of goes back to the information thing that I said, right? Like Fedor seems to understand that it's really valuable to get insight into how everybody plays. And so there's EV attached to being sitting in there in the back, watching everybody play.
And that's important to acknowledge. They didn't get to see the other team's matches. So it's not like Charlie's going into this having watched Nikita and Robin and Olga having already played.
Yeah.
He's going in blind. Whereas if he anchors this, he's going to get to see at least 2 matches ahead of him.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I think that if you have players on your team who are really good at understanding how to use information and develop exploits on players, like if you have like a Fedor on your team, I think even in the first round where we were talking about how the best player should go first and that's the highest EV, I definitely think there's something to the idea that you want to give players a chance to accumulate info if you think you can use it really well.
That was Pads' argument. My counter to that is just that it's a turbo sit and go.
Yeah,
I don't think that information is worth more than the coins.
That mitigates it for sure. But I think in a different format, like if it wasn't such a high variance format, it would matter a lot to accumulate that info.
I think that's true too. Well, hey, if you're a fucking read master, who picks up on every single nuanced body language tell that exists, probably going to want to log 2 matches worth of data there.
Put it in that memory bank.
He's already watched hours of footage on all of them.
So that's true. That is true.
He's been doing his homework.
Yeah.
He's got a guy, like he's like hired an army of data analysts to build up an archive on all of his opponents or something.
I will say that I still think Charlie's the strongest competitor left if their team survives this elimination.
He's playing to win. I mean, you can't say he's not playing to win.
He's trying to manipulate people.
I would still go Fedor, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying because he's already shoo-in in the finals and he has a bunch of chips.
But I just mean like if that wasn't assured yet, like if you're asking me to put my money on someone, it's still on Fedor.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess what I'm speaking to is of the remaining players who are left to compete through round 2 and round 3.
Oh, so like the teams that are still left.
Correct.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Vying for the final 3 spots.
I definitely agree there.
Yeah. And I think that like he's significantly stronger than Yo even in this scenario, just based off of the lengths he's willing to go in order to, I guess, position the end game strategy in his favor. Now, it might come back to bite him because I actually think Robin and Nikita's team, Olga as well, even though she was eliminated already, I think their team has an edge right now. I think that Robin and Nikita are stronger heads-up players than David and Andy. And, it's Turbo-esque. Like, we might be talking 52-48 here. But I do think the slight edge goes to them. So I think that there's a world where we see Charlie get eliminated next episode, round 2, and we just see it now playing out between it
would be Robin's team or Nikita's team and
Yo's team.
Yo's team.
Yeah.
So
which
Jungle Yo kind of Robin, Nikita.
Which, do we would see a pretty big divide there, right? Jungle and Yo, pretty polished veterans, been around the block. Jungle, good at every single format. You could throw mixed games out there. He's going to be the only one who's probably competent. And then you have, like, if Nikita and Robin's team comes through, you have 3 basic up-and-comers in Robin, Olga, and Nikita. And then you have Kaina, who's also, like, maybe she's been in the game a little bit longer, but like she's just now having her comeuppance, and she's bottom of the barrel of what's remaining. She has 21 chips, I think.
Yeah, not a lot. So here's an interesting question: the round 3, where the loser of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket are going through to. I don't think that's going to be more heads-up matches.
Oh, I don't know. I agree with you.
I think they're going to break up the teams.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
I think it's a totally different.
That's what we said.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be the 3 who are already through, Fedor, Marie, and Josh, and then there's going to be 6 competing for more spots. But I don't think they're going to be competing as teams anymore.
Agreed. Yeah. We were trying to speculate what we thought that competition would be.
I mean, they've done sit and go, heads up. So
I mean, I think,
I wonder if it's like kind of supposed to be similar to Deep Stack cash.
I was saying this like last week. Like I would have really loved to see them do a thing where it's a deep stack cash game, but each team has like one stack that they all play.
Oh, that would be cool.
And they have to switch out every certain number of hands or whatever, and then whoever ends up with the most chips or whatever. I don't know, but
I said that
they can't really do that with only 3 episodes left.
Yeah, I said that I thought it would be interesting if they did a round robin format where they did.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So there would be 6 remaining, right? You would do a 3-handed sit and go, and there would be a winner. A 3-handed sit and go, there would be a winner, and then a 4-handed sit and go where it's winner take all, basically. So the first 2 winners would advance to the finals. And they would be
then the remaining
immune. And now you have 4 remaining that are competing for one spot.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best way to build drama around it. But the problem is, A, I don't want to watch 3 sit and goes. B, we only have 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
So
you could get that all done in one episode, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. You could get that all done in one episode.
Ultimately, format-wise, I would prefer something that doesn't eliminate as many players at a time and doesn't end up with 6 at the end and then 1 winner, right? Like, I don't want the last episode to be there's 6 people left and one of them's going to win.
I agree.
I would prefer it to have 6 and then maybe we go to 4 and then we have 2 and they play heads up, or 6 and 3 and then a winner, or something like that. Like, I don't want it to be 6 and then it's
kind
just
of like final
table
style.
Exactly. Like, I know it feels like poker, but we want this to not feel as much like poker, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if in future seasons, if there's room for kind of a shootout structure where, you play like, they've had these before at WSOP, I believe. But you start with a 9-handed shootout, the winners advance. Then you play a 6-handed shootout, the winners advance. Then you play
so many people, though.
a heads-up shootout. Right. You could cast a lot more people.
Wait, WSOP did that?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think there was one event.
It was a mix max. That's what it was.
Maybe.
They did day 1 was 9-handed. Day 2 was 6-handed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Day 3
right.
was heads up.
Was heads up.
Right.
Correct.
Or it might have even been 4-handed and then heads up.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think that's how they had it before.
Yeah.
They didn't do that again after the first time, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you could cast a lot of people that way. That might be a little laborious.
Laborious. Let's not talk about words again. We've done too much of that lately.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see how this is going to wrap in 3 episodes. My fear is that the final is only going to be one 50-minute episode that's half poker.
Yeah.
Or maybe all poker.
I think
might be all poker.
I feel like it has to be all poker.
We need to see Najad back.
Yeah.
Where's he been?
Yeah. He's picking up a paycheck for like one line every 3 episodes.
Yeah.
You know, like
he explains the rules. He explains, who's going to be on what team, and then
he pops up after every round.
I've never seen a host, or I've never seen a game show that has like such a small role for the host.
Yeah. I would
you ever
like
watch Love Island?
No.
Oh, you should.
I would like to see. Here's an interesting idea. I would like to see when they do these, they do the talking head interviews of like post something happening, post somebody getting eliminated, whatever. I would like to see Ali doing those interviews.
Yeah.
I would really be interested to see what would come of, because Ali probably knows most of these people already, right?
Yeah.
The dynamic between Ali asking them questions, I think, would be more interesting than just them talking at the camera.
Yeah. I mean, he might be the one asking them the questions. They're just cutting that part out.
But then
Someone
why?
tweeted that they were doing it remote, so it was just a camera, which I kind of like because I think it's more candid that way.
That might be true. But I guess if you're gonna have Ali there, he's good at what he does. Like, use him more. Don't just have him show up for one line.
Wish everyone was in
episodes.
one house. Can you imagine?
That would be insane.
They're too rich.
Well, all right. So
what do you mean they're staying in hotel rooms? What's the difference?
What I'm
that's
saying
my question. Is like, where are they?
Probably in one house.
No, they're not in one house, because I remember during what was it? What was happening? Oh, it was like that whole Twitter Spaces drama. But I think Charlie was taking videos from his hotel room in Korea.
Oh, okay.
They were in hotel rooms.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but it also makes sense to be on property, I think.
I mean, it's a whole, like, this is like the first season, so like, while it is, the production value is great, like, it's still kind of a lower budget when it comes to like a reality show. Like, when you're talking about putting them all in the house, putting cameras throughout the whole house, microphones,
then having to edit them throughout the house.
film all that, then edit that all down. That's a whole nother level of production that you might not see in like a season 1, but maybe season 2 or 3.
Yeah, I imagine it's a lot of the editing.
I also think it's very possible that if that was the criteria, some of these people that they got might have said no.
Right.
Like,
I would
and that
be
goes
so
back to the rich
that.
team.
I would want to be in that. That'd be make it better. Yeah.
Well,
And
it
then
might,
they call
it
Connie.
might make it better in the sense of the viewing material. But like,
Right.
if you're launching this show, you don't want to make a decision about the format that means that now you don't get Negreanu or you
Correct.
don't get
Right.
Fedor or you don't
Exactly.
get Jason
You're right.
Kuhn. Like,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I can understand not taking too much risk there.
No, they get them no matter what. They're signed.
I was gonna say they're
Okay,
GG.
bad example, but like bad example.
How hilarious is it that they had 3 signed GG pros and they all got eliminated the first,
Yeah, I know, right?
first episode, and they all got on the same team?
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
okay, you guys are all on the same team randomly. I assume
Yeah.
it was like truly random.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're also out.
Yeah. But like, let's say like one of the others, like Jungle or something.
Yeah.
Right? There's plenty of people. I don't know what I would say if I had the chance to do it, but if they made me live with the other people, I would definitely say no.
Really?
And I'm sure there's plenty of people.
Interesting.
For
It's
sure, I
funny
would say
because there
no.
seems to be some viewers that they're like, this is fake drama. Stop with the fake drama. But
Yeah,
it's like,
I thought that.
why is it not realistic that people would fight in this scenario?
I thought it was all very genuine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like-
I think people
People fight over way less.
poker players are not improv actors. Like
No.
Right.
what do you
Wow,
think?
Guapo is.
But like
skilled.
these people are not like, we're not skilled enough to go out there and like fake being upset with each other. Like, we're not actors. Just hire
I
actors
think
to come
people
do that.
thought that because Jungle showing any emotion
Right.
comes off a little
It does-
Right.
Yeah.
a little go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's specifically
It feels
It
a
always
little bit
seems like he's
canned.
playing a character.
Yeah, it feels a little bit canned, but I think that's just like what angry Jungle looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like he's still upset about it.
I know.
He's
Yeah.
still tweeting out and saying like, for everybody who's saying that I was a bully, like, just it's like, guys, I don't. The Cope tweeting is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like after the fact, I mean, for a lot of these players, it's been a year. And granted, it's the ones who are getting the most camera time, right? It's Charlie's tweeting a lot, Jungle's tweeting a lot. Andy, we saw put out a tweet after
Kind of
Florida
tweeting a
Top
fair
Air.
bit as well, I think.
Really, I haven't really.
Yeah.
I saw her like in threads, but I haven't seen like too
Okay.
much of her
Yeah,
actually
maybe
posting.
you're right. I think she might just be commenting on people's
No, like
posts.
long things like everyone else.
Right. But like the ones who are kind of falling into a bit of the main character role / syndrome, I
Main
think.
character syndrome.
Yeah, well, I'm saying role in the sense that they're the ones being highlighted the most.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the tweets feel like they're almost spawned out of the syndrome.
Yes.
Right, where it's just like, oh, everybody
Everyone's thinking
is
about
judging me.
me
Yeah, that
right
kind of thing. It's like it's a game. Like Fedor 2, like basically saying like, I wasn't trying to cross any lines and I just wanted to be playful and enjoy the game and stuff. It's like, guy, if ever there is a sandbox to just like play around and fuck people over, this is it. It's just like I can't imagine. Like nobody can be a bully on this show. You can exude bully behavior, but it would only be a strategy.
Yeah.
And
Right?
most likely always be positive for yourself.
Well, you assume so, otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You could get yourself eliminated. I don't know if you guys have been watching Squid Game at all, but
Nah.
I have.
It's very good.
The real
is
Squid
really
Game,
good.
not the show.
Right, the
like-
Squid Game show.
The actual
reality
game
show,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
but
guys are confusing me.
there's this athlete on there, and he just comes out and immediately just like plays the character of the alpha.
Yeah.
And he just portrays himself as a villain, and he puts himself in a lot of really fucked up spots to get eliminated early. But clearly, it's a strategy that he went in there ready to employ, and he saw a high side of it. So it's like anybody who would like look at that scenario and be like, "This guy in real life is a fucking bully." It's like, oh, he's competing for 4.5 million.
Yeah.
Like this is just what you do in these types of environments. Like I've talked to Garrett a little bit about his attempt at Survivor and how much of an epic fail it was. And he's like, I just went in there like with the absolute wrong strategy. I was eating a bodybuilder's diet. I went in low body fat percentage.
Yeah, super lean.
And then on top of that, like I really tried to turn everybody against this woman who ultimately burned their fucking rations and still didn't get voted off.
Jeez.
Like that's how unappealing Garrett made himself within that confine. So it's a big risk.
Yeah.
But like, I think in these winner take all scenarios, especially, it doesn't really matter if you're eliminated first or next to last. All that really truly matters is giving yourself the highest shot to win. And in some scenarios, that type of behavior is going to be well rewarded. Yeah. It just kind of depends on your read on the situation, the people you're up against, and the strategies that's kind of the beauty of it, right? We don't have a game of gold solver. We don't get to know what the equilibrium is.
Maybe
here.
someone out there does.
I think it's why it's captivating the poker community so much, because it's just been a while since everyone has been able to focus on something that there's no solvable strategy for.
And argue and debate.
Yet. I mean, who knows? Someone's going to come out with a fucking solver soon.
We used to debate hand histories back in my day.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing.
Alan Barry would tell me that he 3-bet ace-9 off from the hijack, and I would just be like, "You're a muppet." And we would just fight for hours because nobody knew. And we could just only hold our conviction on why we think it's good or bad. And then you're forced to kind of be battle tested and defend your side.
So 1 second. Going back to the Twitter stuff before we get completely off of that.
Yeah.
I have a theory. I think that whoever wins this will be someone who hasn't been tweeting about it.
That's why I think it's kind of.
He has been tweeting.
Nah, she's just low key in threads. Did you guys see this one?
So here's something interesting as well, right? Obviously, they're on an NDA where they can't talk to anybody. Yeah. They're not allowed to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I spoke to Kaina the other day at Venetian, and she said she literally hasn't told a single soul, even her family or anybody, the result.
What happened?
Wow.
Yeah, she hasn't told anybody the result. So if
that's because she fucking won.
Interpret that
how loose was she playing?
She doesn't want to get sued.
How loose was she playing?
She busted after about 15 hands when I was there. So
maybe she got some new money.
Might have a little new money in her pocket.
But it was an $1,100 buy-in. So maybe she if she won, she wouldn't be playing that. Who knows?
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, I think the idea I was kind of putting out there is, I think if you won this, you wouldn't feel as engaged with what the narrative is going through it. So you wouldn't feel as inclined to talk about everything that's going on and
explain your behavior.
Yeah, you just be like, well, I won, so who cares what anyone says, right?
Yeah.
So I think that whoever wins in the end, it will be someone that has not been that active in tweeting about it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
That's my theory.
I feel like it could be Maria.
Could be Maria.
She's been in there. She's been engaging with Charlie quite a bit.
It.
She definitely wants it.
She might want it the most.
We're overlooking the most obvious person.
Josh.
It's Josh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Josh.
Who's luckier? He goes on a massive weight loss journey after the fact. Of course, you're new rich. You're new rich.
Yeah.
You got nothing but time on your hands.
I mean, he's
but he's rich.
Now we're looking at people's behavior over the last year, and who has been behaving like they just won $500,000.
Did anyone start firing like crazy? Around, I don't know, when did they film?
Who upped their average buy-in in November?
Yeah,
2022?
let's go see let's go. We need to go see what Lucas has been streaming. Has he? Has his average buy-in gone up at all? Or are we in the 215s all of a sudden?
That's actually so funny because it's they might have said to people, if you do anything that makes it obvious you just want a big pile of money, you're going to be spoiling the result of this. So, it's so weird.
Or maybe they don't pay them until the show is.
Oh, that's actually,
I actually thought that. I was like,
that's
maybe
probably what they do.
It might be part of the NDA, right? It's like, hey, you don't get this prize money if you spoil it.
I'm sure that's actually what it is.
So
you're right.
You'll receive it at the end as long as you don't spoil it.
Because I mean, how are you going to pay someone $500,000 and ask them to keep it quiet that they just got paid this money?
Yeah.
So maybe it is you only get paid this money if you don't tell anybody.
Right.
Wow.
Man, interesting. God, I love this show.
Yeah. Here's another question.
Show.
Do you think that they are trying to get this show on an actual TV network?
I know for a fact they are. I spoke to Daniel about it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't put words in his mouth.
Platform though, not cable.
The way I understand it,
I hope it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
the way he explained it to me is the hope is that it gets picked up, but more specifically, they wanted to demonstrate a template that works for poker so that other bigger players would replicate it.
I think I think they're succeeding in that. I feel I feel like these companies have been trying to have this type of response throughout the community where everyone's focused on one thing and just haven't been able to do it really. I mean, Hustler had some episodes where it was happening, like the big Mr. Beast game and stuff, but it hasn't been able to happen this consistently. Yeah,
the scary thing to me is the viewership. This isn't getting millions of views. I'm not so sure that the makers of Survivor are really ever going to have this pushed across their desk.
I mean, you can't jump straight to Survivor. Maybe you
not just Survivor, but anybody who's in the business of making reality TV. Right? I don't know.
Compliment got some friends, right, Brian?
Guapo, you playing us out on 0.025?
Hey man, I'm multitasking.
What else we got going on?
Wow, nothing happens on 0.25 speed for you, does it, Buck? You're a 1.5x guy.
He's like
minimum
10x speed. It's
minimum.
Like I hear him like walk through the kitchen. It's like, I'm like, what are you listening? Do
you at least watch movies on normal speed?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Only because you can't speed most of them up.
No, you can speed them up.
If you told us you watched movies at 1.5x, everyone in this room would snap believe you.
Yeah.
No, because I'm watching movies for entertainment. If I'm listening to a book, it's to get the nuggets out of it. If I'm watching Game of Gold, it's to get the drama. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much fucking downtime in episodes of Game of Gold.
We still would snap believe you if you said you watched them at 1.5x.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or like listen to music.
That's fair. Hey, what can I say? I'm a very good listener. You know, you guys can speak as fast as you want. I'm going to hear the nuggets.
That's your pitch for all the ladies out there.
That's right. I don't talk much. I just listen.
As long as you talk fast enough, I'll listen.
That's actually really good.
Get to the point.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Don't forget that Poker Out Loud Season 10 has dropped this week. You can check that out at S4Y.io. We are running a Black Friday sale through Friday. Use code BlackFriday23 at signup. You'll get $100 off your yearly subscription only at S4Y.io. We do have an academy coming up January 15th through the 17th. Still a few seats available for that. If you sign up before December 15th for this academy or any academy in the first half of 2024, you'll save $500 prior to December 15th. Just head to academy.solvefory.io. And also, finally, don't forget that we got some merch for you all. The In the Muck t-shirt is live, as well as What is Different. Go ahead and check that out. You can also get the normal, not that one. I don't know why you keep putting it up there, Guapo. We did not do that one. That's the one. We also have the normal Only Friends merch, as well as the S4Y merch. So go ahead and check that out. academy.solvefory.io. Click on the merch button. We'll see you guys tomorrow noon. We'll be back. Melissa in studio 3 days in a row.
Wow, what a treat for you guys.
What a fucking treat. And then one of these days Landon's gonna be back. I'm not sure when, but did confirm Pads will be with us Friday to talk Game of Gold, so we will have him in studio now that him and the Mamacitas are here in Las Vegas. That's it for us. We'll see you guys noon Pacific tomorrow. See you.
Later, squad.
Peace.